Happy Hump Day, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets. Powered by BETSPERTS, we are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, for a Blue Shirt Wednesday, an unofficial. We didn't actually message each other about this, but it's Blue Shirt Day here on Brown Bag Bets. Andy, did you know that?
This is like grayish. I don't know if my cam is just goofy. It
It
does
could be
look like
me.
a.
It's like that
No, it
dress.
looks. It looks like it has a bluish hue in camera, but this is like battleship gray. I wonder what's going on here because this wall is much brighter than it comes across.
Interesting.
Already getting baseball questions. Maybe it's because I'm the hottest baseball handicapper on the streets right now, with my Red Sox winning as an underdog. Even though, Jesus, that didn't get steamed the right way. The the Yankees money came in maybe a little on the Martinez news and a little on the fact that they're the Yankees and they're going to take money anyway. October is all about pink. I have a pink sweatshirt. I'll have to wear that for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's right.
I tried. I was telling producer Dan this off the air. I attempted to care about baseball by betting on it. I thought maybe if I bet on it, I would care more. Still didn't stay awake. And we went out and got margaritas last night, so maybe that made me sleepy before bed anyway. But I cashed out in like the seventh inning, fell asleep. So a little rough for me, a little rough for Andy.
It's okay.
Tennis went good, 2-1. Liang made it a little tricky. Our underdog got crushed, but you don't pay juice on an underdog, which is fine. The favorite won very handily. That was pretty easy. So nice. It's a nice
we
money
like
day
2 and
for
1.
us. A lot of times early in the week we don't have a ton of bets going because I'm talking about golf that's happening later, or we're talking football or futures. So we had a nice little cash day for the old show yesterday. I like that.
Nice and easy. Stack it up 2 and 1. If we could go 2 and 1 every day, we'd be doing all right. What do you think?
And at 3-1, throw baseball in there, baby.
That's right, true.
Red Sox.
We don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Tonight we have another wild card game where the St. Louis Cardinals will take on the Dodgers. And this one is probably, I don't know, let's go 10 years down the road. Will we ever have a team with this many wins in a wild card game again? That would be something. Jesus. They're a very, very good team. Don't be fooled by what anybody tells you. The Dodgers are a very good team. And they are, of course, a heavy money line, minus 225. St. Louis plus 175. Right off the bat, somebody asked Cardinals plus 1.5, minus 110. I don't know the answer to this, but my gut tells me, and my gut based off the math I've done with other sports, is the plus 1.5 can't be a good bet long-term in baseball. Is it? Like, how often does a team just lose by one compared to if you want to bet on a team? I think long-term betting the money line would be better. I'm going to check into that. I'm going to ask some baseball guys about the plus 1.5.
That's what I've heard from baseball guys. That's what I've heard. I know our one buddy, James Mazzola, again, he handicaps golf more, but when he's into baseball, he was a huge proponent of just take the money line. Plus 1.5 is, almost as bad as buying the point from like 4 to 5 in a football game or something like that. He made it sound really unappealing.
Yeah, and there is something similar in the NFL, whereas the underdogs of plus 1, plus 1.5, plus 2.5, if you were betting all of those in general, if you'd have just taken the money line over a long period of time, you'd be up way more money just taking the money line. So plus 1.5 is, it's real tricky in a game. Somebody just brought up playoff hockey. Yeah, hockey is a little different because a game, if you're betting that in regulation, or not even regulation, a game can end in a tie technically when you're betting three-way hockey stuff. With this, it is tricky. This game will not end in a tie. I was just going to mention this, and the chat brought it up. The total is pretty low. I wonder if in some of these games where there's two really, really good pitchers, where we have a total of like 6.5, those crazy low ones, or even maybe, it is correlated to the total a lot of times. That's what's the price. It's kind of baked in already. So I don't know.
This would be better.
I'm just kind of talking in circles,
but I don't know if it's still good. I think that's kind of what we're approaching. Like, the low total, two good pitchers. It might be better, but again, we're still pretty sure it's not good. And in general, it's not great if you're buying stuff. I mean, I don't know. That plus 175 looks nice to me. I mean, the Cardinals, they're the hot team at the end of the year. I think they have a history of ruining the Dodgers. I know that doesn't necessarily matter, and it's a little bit trendy. But, yeah, every baseball handicapper that we've talked to, and in general, I know, again, you've looked into it with football. I've looked into it with basketball. Buying points, buying runs, anything like that is generally bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And again, 7.5 is a lower total, maybe a little bit of an advantage in a tight playoff game. But if I were betting it, I'd bet the money line. And since I don't really like anything tonight, I just find some home run props or something like that. Take a first five, maybe St. Louis first five plus a half run, something like that. You think these starters do well. Wayno's fine. Obviously, Scherzer's real good, but these are good. Obviously, the Dodgers offense is prolific, and St. Louis has been hot as shit in September. So let's just leave it up to you guys. I don't have a pick on this one. I'm going to keep my perfect playoff record intact and kind of scour the timeline for some home run props or some baseball props. I don't know. Do you have a take on this at all?
No, I think I'm going to do the same thing. I like the idea of going for a first five. That's always fun. But we'll put a pin in the +1.5 question. Next time we have Money in the Bank or Mr. Burke back on, we'll ask them to espouse on it a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I asked Frank about it once with the -1.5. He's like, "Why?" He just looked at me like I was an idiot. He said, "Why would a team care about winning by 2 when they're up by 1 late? Like insurance runs are a thing, but it's like there's no style points in baseball. It's not fair." So it is Hump Day, though, Alex. It is Hump Day, and that
some call it Wednesday.
Some people do call it Wednesday. We call it Wynn Total Wednesday. More basketball. We're close. We talked to Andy McNeil about hockey. Hockey starts on the 12th. I have that like etched in my brain now. What day is the actual NBA opener?
The NBA opener, it looks like it's the 19th. So we have one more Wynn Total Wednesday. This is our second to last Wynn Total Wednesday. And next weekend and next week, we'll get some NBA people on. We'll do some more futures and stuff because there's always plenty of stuff to bet. In fact, there was some other stuff I found this morning. But for now, it's Wynn Total Wednesday, Andy. And I know that, sometimes I'm usually pessimistic here. And honestly, as you start to look at the market, we are in a position where unders are probably better bets than overs. At the beginning, when they posted regular season win totals, Andy, the books did it right. They had 1,230 wins. That's how many wins you have in an NBA season, 1,230. And now it's up to 1,238 or so. But despite that, and I promise you, folks, this isn't just to keep producer Dan happy, but I promise you I have his full attention now as we are going to discuss optimism over the Atlanta Hawks, Andy. This is how I can prove to the people that I really am over the Sixers playoff debacle. But this looks like a really solid team to me. It's the same group they had last year, but there's two things that are going to, I think, make a big difference and are being a little bit underrated. The first thing, DeAndre Hunter looks to be healthy. He's back. He is the perfect defender, the perfect kind of guard to put next to somebody like Trae Young. He's also very solid on the offensive end. If he can stay healthy for the season, which, again, besides the one injury last year, I have nothing in his history to make me think that this is going to be problematic, assuming he did all his rehab and stuff, which I'm sure he did. Bringing DeAndre Hunter back is great. And they're also going to have a full season of Nate McMillan as a coach. I know that he's someone that gets kind of thrown under the bus at the end of Portland and the end of Indiana. He is someone that is not a great coach. He's not one of the top 5 coaches in the league, but he's not a bad coach. And that really matters. As crazy as it sounds, to have a coach as at least average or above average makes a huge difference. Really was impressed with what he did in the playoffs in the second half of the season, taking over this team as the interim coach and kind of finishing out there. So really optimistic about those two things. As you take a step back, we've got a team here that's 10, 11 guys deep. They're going to be able to get through injuries. We saw them with it last year. Even when Trae Young was out, they would continue to win and cover night in, night out. That kind of depth is really going to matter. As I've said before, we've got a full 82-game season after a compressed offseason, after a season with a compressed offseason. We're not done with all the injury nonsense yet. I don't think it's going to be much better than it was last year, and the Hawks are prepared for that. 46.5, I have them at 49 wins. At some versions of my models, I've had them as high as 50, 51 wins. Again, the kind of consistency, having an above average coach for an entire year, having that kind of depth. It's a team that, again, hasn't changed much, but has gotten better. They should just be very comfortable this season. So like them to have that many wins. And there's an interesting market, Andy. It's not at every book, but I found this at DraftKings. And there might be one or two other places. Maybe when you're in Iowa over the next week, you can find this. You can bet the Hawks to be under the 5.5 seed. And what this means is they have to be a top 5 seed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You go back and look last year, they were the 5th seed, got to play the Knicks. again, I expect the team to be better. You look at the East, it's tough to think about how my Sixers are going to be without Simmons. I expect them to probably take a step back. The other teams, kind of in the middle there, have taken a step back. The East has gotten better at kind of the bottom and the lower middle, but the Hawks are in great shape here. I think they can be the 4 seed, possibly even sneak as high as a 3 seed. So if you have access to this, look around. Over 46.5 wins, over 47.5 wins in some places. Hunt around. The 46.5 is obviously better. 47.5 is okay. And then if you can find the seed, under 5.5, under the 5.5 seed for me. So a lot of Hawks optimism. You're welcome, Dan.
I was half expecting him to pop in, just so thank you. I'm excited about the Hawks, and I was a little worried you were going to get triggered there when you started listing off the seeds that they could be, because that's the 76. You almost started singing the 76ers song when you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sixers.
Tear down your eye. All right, I'm in. I'm in on the Hawks.
Sounders.
I lost money on them last year. Whatever. We're back. It's good to change your mind. It's good to have an open mind in sports betting, be able to, hate a team's chances and quickly come to grips with the fact that they do have a good roster and we should be betting on them. Speaking of people I'm going to be betting on, I still haven't got to matchups. I'm hoping to get to that this afternoon, but I did find some top 20 bets. This is a market that I am really wondering if I need to get more involved in, just from a what the hell are books doing price standpoint. Like, you are finding wild differences in prices on some of these. Ian Poulter at an offshore that I often bet at was like plus 200, plus 275 maybe tops to be top 20. And you go to, I believe it was FanDuel, plus 390. There are just massive Perez at certain books. Pat Perez, another one I'm backing. I've backed numerous times. Love this guy. Plus 400 at some books. Plus 550 again. I think maybe back at the offshore I bet him at. So it's not even like, consistent. Like, FanDuel is always going to have the best number on stuff. It's just like, I'm not sure if it's a liability thing or the traders are doing, their own thing with these top 20 markets. I can't imagine they're taking heavy liabilities on here. So I'm not sure if it's just some sort of math they're doing based off their outright prices and not adjusting top 20s or over adjusting top 20s. But you can, if you have 3, 4, 5, 15 books, if you want to bet top 20s, find some guys you think might have value and then shop. And you might find that you're finding $1 or $2 better prices on some of these, and definitely all of these. Like, I wrote down my initial prices that I was happy to bet them at, and then I found much better prices on 3 of them. So Maverick McNeely, Ian Poulter, Henrik Norlander, and Pat Perez, top 20 prices, plus 240, plus 390, plus 450, and 550 respectively. Again, I talked a little bit about the course yesterday. These are some guys that matched the model that I put together. Mav McNeely's had a nice late summer. Ian Poulter has had a break now off the big loss in the Ryder Cup. Just got the shit kicked out of him. But those guys,
it's not good for him.
Yeah, hopefully,
might be the end of Ian Poulter.
Might be the
end
Ryder
of Cup.
Ryder Cup Poulter might be done. Although I'd like to see him in Rome. That would be fun. So, just
he'll be a captain.
I'll hopefully have some more golf out later.
Yeah, they'll make him a captain.
Non-playing captain, Ian Poulter. Everybody likes him over there. I'm sure that'd be fine.
He wears the fun pants.
That's true. I got that. Tennis. You want to do tennis?
Oh, well, I guess we might as well. There's some tennis.
You teased us yesterday.
I did. We got some outrights. They finally hung some stuff. It took them about 20 hours after the draw came out to put up some odds. But here we are. I did a full write-up for this. You can find it on my Twitter at _Noobs. Went through, broke down every quarter, shared some of my data and some other thoughts. But here are my outright picks. Again, the tournament gets underway, the women's draw, in a couple hours here. So you've got some time to poke around. And similar to what Andy said about the golf, books have much different numbers on these. So we'll start with Danielle Collins. I've seen her as low as 20 some places, but there are 30 or better a few spots. She has been absolutely fantastic. One of the best players on tour. Since having a surgery, I'm not exactly sure what it was for, but related to some things going on, she's come back with it, been much healthier all around, gotten back to the very high level we saw from her late last year. She's got a nice spot in the draw here. She's in the first quarter. There's a couple names in there. Karolina Pliskova, the number 1 seed, is obviously the biggest name in there, but her and another name we're going to talk about in a second sit in that first quarter there. Danielle Collins in the bottom. Just really like her spot and the way she's playing tennis. Jessica Pegula, someone I like to bet on quite a bit in U.S. hardcourt tournaments. She has yet to win a tournament in this swing, but has made deep runs, and all 4 of her losses were to either women that won the tournament or made the finals. Spectacular player, has done well in these courts, continues to kind of rise up, and it is in a nice spot in one of the easier quarters of this draw. At 30-1, I'd have her down closer to 20, even slightly less than that. So happy to scoop her. And the name I mentioned, the other name in the first quarter, Annette Kontaveit at 35-1. We have a chance to get her and Collins facing each other in the quarterfinals. Kontaveit off of 2 hard court titles, back-to-back hard court titles coming in here, has had some time to recover. She did retire or withdraw in her last match in Chicago, but if you go and look, there wasn't any injuries to speak of in that first round match. She stepped out and maybe just wanted some time to hang around Chicago, because if you look at her social media, which is an important part of tennis, folks, you can't handicap these people without looking at their Instagrams, was having some fun for 3 or 4 days in Chicago. So may have been a rest thing more than an injury thing, Andy.
That's why I follow a lot of these WTA players on Instagram. For sure.
Yeah, it's the thing. If you're handicapping tennis, I mean, there's no Adam Schefter of tennis letting us know every time someone's injured or something's going on. So you got to do your own homework. The final name, 50-1. And if you live in New Jersey, I've seen this number as high as 80-1. I'd have a chance to go over the bridge and grab the 80 myself, Andy. But 50 looks good to me. Jill Teichmann, someone again, started to finally be healthy, struggled with some injuries during the clay and grass season. And I think we're getting a cheap number as books are slow to react to her really positive form. Almost won since Natty was one of the only people to really compete with Barty, honestly, over the last couple of months. And again, is in a tough quarter. She's down on the bottom there with Swiatek and some of the more talented women. But at 50-1, I think she can take advantage of a less than 100% Belinda Bencic at a nice spot there. And maybe Swiatek gets knocked off. But if I get 50-1 in the quarterfinals, I can figure something out at that point, Andy.
I'm looking for these now. Actually, I need some of this. I need some of this preseason hockey to finish. I should need to stop betting hockey in the morning. I'm always looking at why my balances are so down. It's because I'm tied up in hockey. So,
as long as those guys keep winning, you'll have more money eventually.
Yeah, it's working out that way so far. So 2-in-1 day yesterday. You have a bunch today. Are these still? This is all today. I mean, is it all still qualifying, or does the tournament start
round
today?
1 starts today.
Okay,
2 p.m. Eastern. Round 1,
like
11 a.m. local.
To be in qualifying.
You are correct. So we finally got some actual tennis underway. They decided to start on a Wednesday. The men start tomorrow on Thursday. Tennis is fun and confusing, folks. Get used to it. They're in California again, 11 a.m. West Coast, 2 p.m. East Coast, and a couple of these matches actually start right away, but you've got some time to get them in. Yulia Putintseva, again, really having a nice second half of the season. Wanted some tournaments on clay, won a tournament on hard courts already, really driving some very positive numbers. She's playing Andrea Pekovic, someone who it's hard for me to tell if she's kind of on her way out from, a perspective of playing tennis, but did not play much, if any, tennis at the beginning of the season, has played sparingly since then. Can be talented, can be someone that's tough to beat, but overall does not have the consistency and the quality of game to bother Putintseva. Putintseva is someone, again, with a really high floor, really high level of effort and focus. She's not really going to beat herself, and I don't see what Pekovic can really do here. So Putintseva minus 3.5 games. Again, Pekovic has been losing matches that she loses, and quickly. Like the minus 3.5 games here, better than the 2-0. The 2-0 at plus money is okay, but again, minus 3.5, minus 4 if you want to sell at a half game is okay too. Speaking of minus 4, On Lee, someone we like to back quite a bit, coming through here again. The young American starting to really put together a nice second half of the season. I'm excited to see what she can do next year with a full year playing with Saki Doi, a player who a few years ago was a solid tour veteran, but is someone that is becoming part of a growing and larger group in the WTA of women that really made a lot of money and wins off being consistent. But now as the talent pool grows bigger, they're facing better and better players each match. And it's just getting to be tougher. I think this is a perfect example of that. On Lee, I had this out to 4.5, almost 5 games myself. So minus 4, which looked at actually be a cheap number, looked good to me. And I looked at both money lines, Andy, and I liked them so much. We're going to play the game spread. We'll put them together in a parlay. You look at Putintseva here from the money line perspective. She's in the minus 200 range. I had her out, deeper than minus 300. On Lee, same thing. So saw some value in both of those numbers, played the spread and also put them together here. And then we've got another couple stacks. We're going to play some women to win, and not only win, Andy, but win 2-0. Su Wei Shea, one of my favorite players, again, a very crafty veteran, someone who takes advantage of players that aren't necessarily either very talented or very well focused. Faces Madison Brengle, someone that I've been happy to fade and done very well doing so the last half of the season. Brengle is kind of holding on and making these tournaments with ranking points that at some point will go away over the next year. And hopefully maybe I will have to stop seeing her name in draws. We can get some better players in there. But for now, let's take Shea. Shea minus 135. This is out to minus 140 some places. I have her minus 160, almost minus 165. So anything better than minus 150 looks okay to me. And the 2-0, look for that. Again, I think you can do a little better than the plus 175. But anything plus 170 or better looks good to me. Same thing here with Kaya Kanepi. She has got Madison Keys, another American who hasn't played very well this year. Just some stunningly bad numbers from Madison Keys. Not as poor as obviously Madison Brengle. The talent is still there. You see it from time to time, but just, I don't know, it doesn't seem terribly interested in tennis this year. So happy to go with Kanepi here, someone who's been playing solidly over the last couple of weeks, winning matches, and has put up better numbers than Keys all season. So minus 110 would play that out to minus 120, and the 2-0 at plus 200 would play that as low as plus 180. And then our girl, Elena Gabriela Roos, she's not plus 300 this time, Andy. So unfortunately, it won't be as big of a payout, but the qualifier coming through, plus money against Alizé Cornet, who has been struggling the last few weeks in the end of the season. Again, the numbers here look pretty solid for Roos. A little better, although against a worse level of competition. This match should be pretty close, but I have it, minus 110 each way if I was hanging the line here. I have Roos minus 110 myself, so happy to take her at plus 105, plus 110 or better. Poke around. There's some plus 120s, plus 125s. I think there's someone out there who disagrees with me, Andy, so I think you guys might do a little better than I did.
Yeah, it is always interesting when someone pushes back on you. It's like, should I bet this again at a better number? Or am I dead wrong? We had that conversation last night about hockey, and it was it's a very open-ended one that I don't think there's not an actual answer to that question. It's a completely rhetorical.
It's very much there's a lot of things at play. You have to be really confident in your edge, but at the same time, if you're not confident in your edge and you have to be smaller with how much you're willing to put down, it's tough. It's a tough line.
Yeah, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. So, all right, real quick, I'll have a good PrizePicks promo tomorrow for the Thursday night game. I'm not sure if there's anything tonight for baseball. I know they had a strikeout giveaway yesterday, but for tonight, just you can do a baseball one. You can do a baseball win with a football one, but I'm going to wait for tomorrow because I don't know anything about these baseball players or who to put in for props. If you have a good PrizePicks entry or some props for me to play tonight in the baseball game, by all means, tweet at me and I will actually play it. But yeah, tomorrow we'll have a good promo to go along with the Rams-Seattle game. So a lot of fun for a good Thursday night game finally. And yeah, we'll hit that up for you tomorrow. Thanks for joining, chatting, thumbs upping, retweeting, liking, hanging out, listening, watching, and just being here for us. And we'll catch you tomorrow.
See you then.